Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to break down a couple of automations that you need for ManyChat in order to scale your business in 2025. These are probably the top two I would say that any business owner needs. Obviously ManyChat has a ton of different features that you can use in many different ways, but I think these are the top two that I would definitely use and have been using for all of our clients. It's been working extremely well. So before I jump into it, the two prerequisites you need are you have to have at least one lead magnet already set up. If you don't know how to do that, I've already explained that in previous videos, but maybe in the future, if you guys are interested, I can make a video specifically on how to make winning lead magnets and lead magnets that people want and will actually allow people to convert into customers later down the line. And the second thing you need is an email sequence that will allow you to further nurture the leads and convert them into customers. This is also something I can make a video on in the future, but if you don't have these two things, this video might not be for you. But if you do, let's get into this. All right, so obviously the first one, if you haven't already seen at the top, it's a lead generator automation. Essentially what this is whenever somebody comments a specific keyword, swipes up on your story, or DMs you a certain keyword, it'll trigger this automation, which will allow you to have the opportunity to capture them as a lead. 90% of the time, this is gonna come through your Reels or a story post, depending on how you are promoting this automation. If you also make your call to action to have people DM you the keyword, this will also work as well. A lot of people kind of half-ass this and make a really simple, crappy automation just for the sake of, collecting someone's information to later spam them with crappy emails. But you have to remember that when somebody requests a lead magnet from you and you start this automation, you are able to pop up in their inbox, and while they know that it's an automated message most of the time, some people do, some people don't, you still have the advantage of them thinking and seeing that you're in their DMs messaging them directly. So the first thing is every message has to start out with a button so that you can actually begin the automation. So this is really simple. You don't have to overthink this part. It can just be like, hey, first name, thanks for your interest in blank. So the name of your lead magnet, are you ready to take something to the next level, right? Cool. Usually what most people do is they'll take that second message and just say, great, now send me the email that you want me to send this to. But I really like to add an extra step in there that will really get people excited about what they're going to be getting. And so I usually do one of two things. I'll show you the second thing in just a second. And that consists of hyping them up and showing them case studies or potential results they could be getting from consuming your lead magnet. So in this case, I said, that's awesome. It won't be long until you can start getting results like this for your business. And I've attached some screenshots of our client results showing them all the leads that we managed to capture for them, right? So now the person has in mind, okay, great, I consume this lead magnet and now I can potentially get leads and generate results like this and this and this, and these three screenshots being shared. By the way, this is all just one image. It can be separate images, but I usually like to send just one. This is just showing three in one single message. Now you can transition into saying, hey, just let me know which email I should send the blank to, right? You wait for them to send you the email. If they do, you subscribe them to your email sequence. This is where I mentioned that you kind of need to have this email sequence set up. So this is your follow-up sequence after they've already requested the lead magnet. So you have to have that set up. Have them subscribe to that, set the Instagram and email opt-in so that you can continue to message them in the future. And this is just set so that in half an hour, if they haven't replied, you have an automation that follows up with them for you to see if they're still interested, because sometimes people just miss it or they don't feel like it in the moment, whatever it may be, something might have come up, but this is like a second chance for them to do that. I usually just give 2 chances because after that, it just means that they no longer are interested, or they just can't be bothered to give you their email because they don't think that your lead magnet is worth it. Great, now, so once you've got them to send your email, ManyChat will automatically collect it and feed it into your sequence and also into the next step, which is going to be sending the lead magnet out. But before that, you just I typically say something like, got it, should be in your inbox in just a second. If it doesn't show up, please check your spam folder. Then this is another nice little psychological touch I like to add to it, where a lot of people set up these ManyChat automations which force people to follow them before they can send it out, which in my opinion can kind of backfire. Of course, it is a good way to gain a lot of new followers, because some people will actually follow you just so that they can get this lead magnet. But then you kind of had this like weird transactional vibe to the start of your relationship with them. And so instead, I like to kind of play on that and say, hey, people usually require you to follow them for this kind of thing, but we wouldn't do that. If you do find the lead magnet useful though, consider following, because it will have a ton of useful stuff for your growth. So this is a really cool way to kind of push for the follow without forcing them to do it, because nobody likes to get forced into things. You have to always try to make it feel like your customers or your leads are making all the choices on their own, and your job is just to guide them through those decisions, not force them to make one specific decision. So that was just a text-based version of how I would thank them for signing up to the lead magnet. But this other method, which is something that nobody really uses, which in my opinion is super powerful, because you're kind of building that intimate relationship with them. And remember, like I said before, people will see your name in their DM folder and it'll feel a lot more personal, even if they know that it's automated. Just spending the time to craft these messages like nicely and make them feel personal will really make a huge difference in your conversions. So what I like to do is just make a quick video actually thanking them personally for signing up for the lead magnet. So it can look something like this. Hey, thanks for signing up for this free guide. Just let me know which email I should send it to and I'll send it to you right now. And also keep an eye out because tomorrow I got something special coming to you for your inbox. Great, so you can see that that video can be used both in the context of before or after somebody's signed up for something. So you really have to just like kind of see what works best, but you can probably see how now that has added another layer of like personality to your actual sales flow and funnel, which will, trust me when I say this, it will absolutely help your conversions later down the line. And if you're worried about it's like not having the first name of the person in there, you can kind of just bounce around that depending on the niche that you're in. So if you're, for example, somebody who's like a fitness bro, you can be like, hey bro, thanks for signing up, blah, 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 this and that. Or if you're, you know, if you're somebody who helps like startups or people with funding, you can say, hey, like, thanks for signing up, really excited for you to secure this funding, whatever. You can kind of just play with it to make it still feel personal without having to say the person's first name. Great, so now that you've got them actually bought into your lead magnet, you can just set a little smart delay. I like to do 1 minute just so that doesn't go instantaneously, but you have a little delay that just has a very, very simple email just saying, you know, get the free guide. You can put the name of the guide in the pre-header and subject, and you can just say, hey, thanks for requesting the lead magnet. Please use the link below to access it. You can put the link for people to access it. And from there, you have people consuming your lead magnet, getting the value that they're hoping for, and hopefully you can set yourself up so that you can eventually turn them into a customer later down the line. So this is also another part where people leave a lot of money on the table. They kind of just leave it there. So the person signs up for the lead magnet and then they just say thank you and then they leave it. But I set up a randomizer so that you could hypothetically split test 2 different paths that could work really well. And the first one is for you to just set up a timer and wait 20 hours and just say, hey, how are you finding lead magnet? Like, is it good or is it bad? So if they do get that message and they like it, you can say, wow, love to hear that. Are you really thinking about taking your personal brand or whatever your offer is to the next level? You can have them say either yes or not really. And from there, you have the opportunity to sell them on a call immediately. So this is like a 24-hour time gap between them requesting your lead magnet and potentially converting them into a customer, right? So you say, sweet, we'd be happy to jump on a free consultation to give you some extra pointers and see if we're a good fit, whatever. They book a call and then bang, you have a call booked. If somebody says not really, like they're not interested in doing it, that's fine. Don't push too hard. You have the email sequence set up specifically for that. So if somebody doesn't get bought in and wanting to take the call immediately, you can get them eventually later down the line if your sequences are nice and they're set up properly, and you can eventually nurture them and, you know, get somebody really excited and have them take the next step. So you can say, that's totally cool. We wish you all the best. If things ever turn around, you know where to find us, right? So you're leaving things on a positive note. You're not trying to say like, oh yeah, but I only have like 2 slots left, or some like really cheesy marketing tactic. Just like be really cool about it. And ultimately this will work way better in the long run. So you don't actually burn the relationship with somebody by trying to force a sale too early. And like I said, just a quick reminder, that's why having a good email sequence in the back end is also really good too, because not only are you following up with them in the Instagram DM, which feels personal, you now have the email sequence, which is going to be continuously shooting them emails every so often, further nurturing them and pushing them for that sale. And the second option would be for you to directly plug your product or service right after they sign up for the lead magnet. That's because somebody who's already interested in your lead magnet have at least some level of interest in your paid product or service. So as soon as they sign up for that, you might as well put that offer in front of them and see how it goes, right? I know this kind of contradicts what I was saying before, like don't push the sale too hard, but if you do it like very smoothly and just say like, hey, by the way, we have this kind of product that's helped people who are really serious about doing Y, you can kind of push them slowly and get them to take action immediately if this is something that works for them. Then of course you can set up the rest of the flow like I did for the previous one. I didn't bother filling it out here, but you can just say like, hey, look, like no pressure, just see if this is something of interest for you, and then bang. So right there you have a 50-50 randomizer that allows you to split test which path works best for you. And then after you have like, you know, at least 30 data points, I'd say probably 100, you can now make a decision on which path works best for you. And then you can obviously add more randomizations as you go and see if you have any other paths that have better results for you. All right, cool. So that was the first automation that every business owner needs. This is the bare minimum that you need to start capturing leads with ManyChat. So you have to get this set up immediately. And I hope that this kind of method that I showed you kind of gives you some ideas of how to do it a little bit better than other people. I don't know if you've ever signed up for other people's lead magnets, but I have done so tons of times, and nobody really does it this way. They're always just very like transactional and dry in the messages, and their follow-ups are really like either like way too pushy if they have them, and if they don't have them at all, they're just, you know, nothing. So they have no opportunity to capitalize and actually try to convert me as a customer. So the second automation is a lead qualifier. So if you already have an audience of people consuming your content who are really excited about what you have to offer, and they watch your videos on a regular basis, then now it's time for you to start bringing in those leads and qualifying them so you can get your calendar booked up with sales calls and eventually a bunch more clients. I wouldn't bother setting up a lead qualifier until you have a ton of leads coming into your business, or if you have a big following. But if you use this with the correct strategy to sell people on Instagram stories, you can really get tons of people coming through your, because using stories as a way to build a relationship with your viewers is probably the best way for you to go about it, because it feels a lot more personal, because the only people that see it are people that follow you, and the people that follow you already have some level of interest, and the story just is like a really intimate way for you to connect with people. So if you have like a really cool sequence of like 4 or 5 stories, like kind of building up a story, and then at the very end saying, hey, like swipe up this word and let's see if we're a good fit, you're gonna get tons of people coming through, but only if you have an existing audience, because like I said, obviously if you don't have an audience, nobody's gonna see your story, so it's kind of useless. Right, so let's say that the user replies to the story with a specific keyword. In this example, I just set the word keyword as the thing because this is just a demo, but what you're gonna wanna do is just say, hey, thanks for your interest. And this is where your lead qualification form kind of begins. I took this lead qualification form, which is something similar to what we would use for our business. We don't have it exactly set up this way, but essentially you just ask the first question has to be something that will immediately either qualify or disqualify the person who swiped up. So, are you currently selling a digital product, right? Like in this context, we would only be helping people who do sell digital products. So if they say yes, try to get an idea of how much money they're making on a month-to-month basis so that you can understand if it's even worth taking a call with somebody, because if they would love to work with you but they don't have the money to pay you, then you kind of just took the call for nothing, because there's not much you can really do from there. Unless you're willing to work for free or you have like a rev share kind of thing. It depends on how you want to go about it, right? So they answer that question, and then you say like, what are you struggling with most now? So you can kind of get an idea before you get on the call if they do qualify for it. And then I really like to say this last question, which is basically, if we presented you with the perfect solution, do you have at least $1,000 to invest in the growth of your business? This is a great question because you've already got them thinking, okay, great. Like if I have the perfect solution, I am willing to invest. So before they get into the call, you already know that they're kind of at least remote, like have some level of interest in investing in their business and their growth. So now all you have to do is just not mess up the sales call, present them a great solution, let them do the talking and sell themselves into it, because they have already said yes to investing in you before you've even got into the call, right? So if they say yes to that, absolutely, plug the call, just say, see, great, seems like we're a perfect fit. Let's jump on a call and discuss how to take your brand to the next level. Boom. Put the link in there. I like to set a little action which notifies me via email every time someone clicks on that link, so that now I can cross-check my calendar to see if somebody has actually booked that call. And if they haven't, then you can also set up another automation to send you a reminder to follow up with them manually, or you can set a manual follow-up. The only thing I meant to say an automatic follow-up. The only limitation though is that ManyChat isn't able to check your calendar and see if somebody has booked a call. So if you set an automated follow-up, you might look a little stupid saying like, hey, I didn't see you book a call, even though they might have done that, which is why I leave it for manual follow-up rather than an automated follow-up, right? So in this case, when you have somebody answering the question in a way that kind of automatically disqualifies them, you have a second opportunity to try to kind of see if they will still be a good fit by just seeing if they have the money to invest in your product or service. So you can just ask them another question. What we generally like to ask, or what we would hypothetically like to ask, is, are you currently creating content? Yes or no? So if somebody isn't creating content and they don't have a digital product, it's very unlikely that they'll have at least $1,000 to invest in this solution. Although it is possible, and it has happened, where somebody does not have any of the foundation set up, yet they do have the money to invest because they're either transitioning from jobs or they really want to get started and they don't know where to go, and they do have money saved up to make this investment. So that's why you don't want to automatically disqualify them just when they answer something that's like not so good. But then again, this is just a simple workflow to show you how to set up a lead qualifier. You can obviously take this to the next level and kind of ask them the questions obviously that are related to your niche and to your parameters for what your ICP is. Some people will only work with others that are making over 100K a month. Others will be working with people who are just doing over $500. It doesn't really matter as long as it's tailored to your need and essentially qualifies the leads, so that you only take the sales calls that are most worth your time, so you don't end up just jumping on a bunch of calls with people who are not qualified and have no idea what to offer and have no idea of how much your product actually costs, or at least, or have no idea how much they should be willing to invest in order to get the results that they want from working with you. Okay, cool. So now if somebody says that they're not willing to invest that money into your product or service, you don't have to take that call immediately, but that does not mean that you cannot eventually convert them into a customer in the future, right? So what you can say is just, hey, sorry, look, it seems like we're not a good fit for each other at the moment, but if you'd like, we have a free course or framework that can get you started. Would you be interested in that? Right? So here's where your first lead magnet kind of ties into this, because if you have a really good lead magnet or some sort of freebie that will provide extra value and nurture your audience and kind of get them like bought into what you have to offer, this is a really great way for you to do that, because if your free course is really good, then people automatically will want to take action on the next step, which is working with you. And believe me, if they are excited enough about what you have to offer, they will find a way to get the money together and so that they can start to pay you, because they'll be really bought into you and the results that you can provide them. So this is where you just sign them up to that. Just say, like, once they say yes, if they're interested in it, you can say, great, please share your email so we can get you started. Boom, they get signed up on that. You say, thanks for sharing it. Be on the lookout for your inbox. Just check a couple minutes. And then the other thing as well, I don't remember if I mentioned this in the other automation. Every single time you have an email going out to somebody and you have them already in the DMs on Instagram, please remind them to check their spam, because sometimes your emails will go to spam and they'll never receive it, and they'll be thinking, oh yeah, but this guy said he was going to send me something, he never sent me something. Don't be that guy. Remind them to check the spam, because first, you're going to be saving the reputation of your domain, and second, you will be saving your reputation with the person that you were supposed to be emailing by telling them to look out for the spam box so they can actually find the email that they're looking for. Okay, so don't forget that, because that is something as well that a lot of people overlook and can cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in sales just because it never actually reaches the person that was supposed to be getting the email. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that was the breakdown of the second automation that you need in order to build and scale your business online with social media, specifically Instagram in this context, but these automations can be used across any platform really. If you found this video useful, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, because I will be making videos every single week breaking down how to grow and sell on social media in 2025. And if you would like to start using ManyChat yourself, if you haven't already, you can find the second link in the description to sign up for a month completely free. Yes, this is an affiliate link, so I will get a kickback if you do buy from them at a later point in time, and you'll be supporting the channel in some way. So please consider doing that if you haven't already. And lastly, if you want to watch another video I've made, I recommend you check this next one out, which is basically me explaining why building a personal brand and posting on social media these days is the best way to get rich, because of all the infinite possibilities that social media has to offer in this day and age. So yeah, once again, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.